thank you, gentlemen, for your service and career. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that I knew the two men that participated in that one I worked with, and one that was in my neighborhood, Mr. French and James Doherty from Cherry Hill, both of them where I grew up.
Anybody else wishing to make comment? So, we got this public hearing scheduled at 10:30 on a code change with regards to amending ordinance chapter 7.02 with regards to pawnbrokers. So throw it over to, are you in charge of this, Jim?
I am. So, as you may remember for staff report, we had a citizen step up at one of our regular meetings back in May. The owner of Easy Pawn, Mr. Conley, and he spoke with regard, and he's in the process of opening an additional pawnbroker shop in addition to the one he owns downtown. He's opening one in the eastern UGA, and really it's the first pawn shop, at least in my 10 years, that we have had in the unincorporated county. And so he made, in anticipation of opening that, he was trying to review our codes and ordinances compared to what he'd been used to in the city. And he outlined several things he felt were no longer following state law. The code hadn't been, the ordinance and the code itself hadn't been rewritten or hadn't been changed since it was originally written in the 50s. And so I started working with him, and he and I worked together, and then we turned it into legal to try and update our ordinance to comply with state law and upgrade the item. And as you may remember, there are very few things that we, in our ordinance or in our Powell County Code, that we do business licenses for. Pawnbrokers is one of them. Junk dealers, secondhand dealers, massage parlors, dance hall, and amusement devices are the others. And so it was timely. We have a pawn shop opening up, and so the idea was to update the ordinance. So we took a stab at it. It's been through legal, and in fact, I just got a letter, an email of approval from Brian Went in the prosecutor's office this morning, and he has actually asked essentially for one change, and I forwarded that to each of you, but I told him I would bring it up at the hearing today. So he's in favor of everything that happens from 060 to the end, 110. He thinks those are all fine, and doesn't offer any changes to the proposals. Thinks they're consistent with the state law 1960 and the way we write our ordinances. He had some concern about section 040 about the pawnbroker's bond. The existing language is that the bond is for $1,000. Mr. Conley told me, in his opinion, it should be nothing less than $100,000 because of the risk associated with what pawnbrokers do and dealing with people. Brian and I both tried to ascertain what other, if there are any other counties that issue or what their amount of surety bond. We weren't able to find any. So I had put $10,000 as a step in the draft, at least increasing it above the 1,000. And the purpose of a surety bond for a pawnbroker is essentially, as I understand it, that in the event that in our review of their business license, somebody makes a claim that they didn't follow the law, and they pawned. The most common thing, according to Mr. Conley, was that if a citizen or a customer pawned an item and the pawnbroker is supposed to wait 3 weeks, get much pawn ticket before they sell it, they're not supposed to buy it themselves, all these things, and the person comes back to redeem the pawn and it's already gone, that would be a violation of the law, and he could potentially have a claim against the pawnbroker's bond, is how he would get paid for that amount of money, the customer. So Brian's comment today was, while he couldn't, also was unable to find any specific amounts or any recommended amounts anywhere, he thought maybe 10,000 wasn't enough, and he would leave that up to the board, because of the, leave that up to the board to determine whether they thought that was 10,000 was enough, or it should be more. But, and I thought perhaps we might have somebody in the audience would have an idea about that. So he left that one as just a vague recommendation. In section 150, however, or in section 050, he did have a recommended change, and under where it says the Clallam County Auditor is the licensing agent for all licenses and the custodian of the bonds required, he suggested that we should change that language to no person may operate as a pawnbroker or secondhand dealer within Clallam County without first having secured from the Clallam County Auditor a business license for such a purpose, and, period, then the Clallam County Auditor is the custodian of the bonds required under this chapter. So, other than that, it's legal. I had no other